Liverpool FC is hard as hell. United, Tottenham, Arsenal. Watch my lips and I will spell, cause they don't just play but they can rap as well. Liverpool FC.
Yeah, my idea was to build Liverpool into a bastion of invincibility.
Hello, my name's Christopher Nightingale. Instead of being at Old Trafford today, I'm in Sheffield to find out about one of the most horrific disasters in footballing history. One that happened before I was born, and one that includes arguably our fiercest rivals. Like today, it was a very sunny day on the 15th of April 1989. Both Liverpool and Nottingham Forest supporters came here to Hillsborough, the home of Sheffield Wednesday, for the FA Cup semi-final. It pitted the best team in Europe, Liverpool, against the best manager in Europe, Nottingham Forest Brian Clough. And it was supposed to be a classic, but instead it got remembered for all the wrong reasons.
I'll always remember a fella selling sunglasses, £1 a pair to keep out the glare, and that gives you an idea of the kind of day it was.
The FA Cup semi-finals, Wembley or bust. These are the great matches to win and the worst possible ones to lose.
Forest, like last year, have been allocated the Kop end. Meanwhile, Liverpool's faithful followers are at the Leppings Lane end.
So they went off down the tunnel, I went to get a coffee. They always tried to dump me at about this point, because obviously they had friends to see and they didn't want the old man hanging about.
Jimmy Hill and I had recorded our bit to camera, and we then sat down and we rubbed our hands with joy. I said, you know, isn't this a privilege? I'd never looked forward to a match more.
The game started. I remember Peter Beardsley hitting the bar, and then suddenly it was clear that at one end of the ground something was terribly wrong.
This is the Leppings Lane end. At 3 p.m, the match had kicked off, but the central pens were already uncomfortably full. Meanwhile, in this area, 5,000 Liverpool fans were desperate to get inside. The first thing the fans see when they go through the turnstiles is a central tunnel, which led to the overcrowded pens. However, the stairs behind me led to a second tier, which was hardly used, with good reason. In 1989, these stairs weren't signposted. With the fear of crushing in this area, police opened these exit gates to relieve the pressure and allow everyone in. It proved to be a fateful decision.
I was up that end, the Leppings Lane end, and there was what I thought was a crowd invasion. And there's two guys came on that I went to and said, look, get off, because you're going to get Liverpool Football Club into trouble. And one of them just looked me straight in the eye and said, Al, there's people dying in there.
And they've come through the barriers, and I can only think that's overcrowding. It doesn't look to me to be any sort of misbehaviour.
I saw what I now know was Victoria being passed over and handled out through the gate onto the pitch. And in that minute or couple of minutes that it took me to get, you know, across the pen and back again, lo and behold, they're almost side by side, Sarah and Victoria, on the pitch. So we picked Vicky up and we put her in the ambulance. You know, I went to the back ready to get off to get Sarah. As we literally stood onto the pitch, the ambulance was full, and I left with this awful dilemma. Do I get back on the ambulance and go with Vicky and leave Sarah alone, or do I go and look after her on the basis that, you know, Vicky's in the ambulance? And, well, if there's a low point in your life, that's it, I think.
Why? Why didn't the FA give us the big ends? Why?
They opened the gates and they just let us walk in.
You are the eyes of the world. You are our eyes.
In the end,
We had then to televise it that evening and to go back to London to get back in time in order to write the opening links. How do you write an opening link to a tragedy like that?
It's been a black day for football. On a sunny afternoon at Hillsborough, Sheffield, no fewer than 93 football supporters died in the most tragic accident for the sport ever in this country. Jimmy Hill and I were there, and it becomes the sad duty tonight for those of us normally concerned with the lighter side of television reporting to deal with a sombre subject. First of all, of course, our sympathies go to the families of those concerned.
The Taylor report came out a year later. Safety and security were tightened, perimeter fences were torn down, and stadiums became all-seater. But some things never change, like the rivalry between us and Liverpool. However, a small number of my fellow Manchester United supporters actually think it's funny to poke fun at Hillsborough, and vice versa, a small amount of Liverpool supporters do the same about the Munich air disaster. These individuals use the rivalry as an opportunity to be incredibly disrespectful about the loss of human life, disasters which affect both clubs very deeply. Today, I hope, at the very least, I've gone out of my way to help enlighten them.
Well, I think the biggest irony is that the sun is shining now and Hillsborough's quiet, and over there to the left, the green Yorkshire Hills. And who would have known that people would die here in the stadium this afternoon? I don't necessarily want to reflect on Heysel, but I was there that night broadcasting with Emlyn Hughes, and he was sitting behind me this afternoon. And after half an hour of watching stretchers going out and oxygen cylinders being brought in and ambulance sirens screaming, he touched me on the shoulder and he said, "I can't take any more." And Emlyn Hughes left. The gymnasium here at Hillsborough is being used as a mortuary for the dead. And at this moment, stewards have got little paper bags and they're gathering up the personal belongings of the spectators, and the red and white scarves of Liverpool, and red and white bobble hats of Liverpool, and red and white rosettes of Liverpool, and nothing else. And the sun shines now.